Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm a volunteer educator and speaker for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, specifically in Mercer County, New Jersey. The reason I became involved with the National Alliance on Mental Illness was to help erase the stigma surrounding mental illness. The In Our Own Voice program has been an effective way to bring greater understanding to others about what life is like for someone living with a mental health condition by sharing my own personal story. In Our Own Voice presentations are divided into 3 segments: what happened, what helps, and what's next. So I explain how my anxiety progressed, how it manifested itself into my life, the treatments I've received, the coping skills I use on a daily basis, and how I hope to continue educating people on viewing the mind and the body as one. I think that by being forthcoming about my anxiety allows others to realize that they're not alone and that mental illness is actually quite common. It's also been very therapeutic for myself to openly share my mental health journey with others. Recovery is a process, and while it's not linear, I've been able to live a life filled with love, happiness, and success. My goal is to bring hope to those with a mental health condition who are struggling, as well as to their family members who are doing their best to support them. I think by sharing my story, first, I think it really helps others who are in the audience know that they're not alone. There's so many people who struggle with a mental health condition, and they may not be forthcoming about it for the reasons that of stigma, they're ashamed of it, they are afraid to get help. And so when I share my story and make it very common, I guess, then it allows them to then be more forthcoming about asking for help. I actually teach a health class at Mercer County Community College, and honestly, on the first day of class, I introduce myself, and part of my introduction is that I have anxiety, and it has been life-changing, I think, for some of my students who then are able to come to me during the semester and saying that they're struggling with this, they're struggling with that, and then for me to be able to help them, either giving them longer due dates, or it's getting them to the right person to talk to. The other reason I think that it's important for sharing my story is for others to understand what life is like for someone who has a mental health condition. And it's not always easy for the caregiver, and I think it's also important for the caregiver to understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. I think by hearing someone else's story, it does help break that stigma. Just by being more open, it allows others to be more open and start to recognize that this is normal. And this is what I say all the time in presentations or into my own classes that I teach, like, this is normal. Mental health conditions affects 1 in 4 adults, and so many of us have something. And there's nothing to be ashamed about getting help. I have family members that I recognized signs of anxiety in, and they were able to get the help they needed much earlier than I did, and they're able to manage their condition much better at an earlier age. And that's what I find when I do speak to groups of parents or other adults, is then they realize, like, okay, this is normal, we need to get my child help or my family member help, and by doing so, that person is able to learn how to manage their mental illness, better. They start to learn coping skills. It's not something that's ever going to go away, but being able to manage it is certainly the road to recovery. In Our Own Voice in the future, I'm hoping that this sparks more conversations about mental health, gets people to see that mental health should be treated the same as physical health. It should all be under the same umbrella. It's the same as if you had a headache or a sore throat or cancer or diabetes, you want to get treatment for it. By getting treatment for your mental health condition, allows you to live life in a better position, I guess. It allows you to manage your illness. It's never going to go away, but being able to manage it and live life, and there's still going to be those ups and downs. And like I said before, recovery is not linear. So you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, but it's certainly better to be aware of it. Know what's out there in terms of treatments, know what's out there in terms of your coping skills, and not be afraid to ask for help. I always say asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness, because we're not meant to go through life doing things on our own. So I hope that In Our Own Voice really helps to get the word out there, starting conversations more, making it more part of the norm. When someone asks how you're doing and you say terrible, that they can say, oh, well, what's going on? What's wrong? Rather than, just turning their head and walking away because we're so used to hearing someone saying, good, I'm fine. When things aren't always good or fine. Not every day is a good day. Not every day is a happy day. And that's, for everyone across the board. And so I hope that this program has an impact on the way we talk to people and the way we can sort of empathize with others. And maybe we will never understand what someone else is going through, but being able to have empathy for them or towards them would be huge.